I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Oltner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. GTL are here with a live podcast, and this one's talking about Indian Wells. Big results happened yesterday, and some of the biggest players, they had very close calls, JG.
That's right. I wanted to start this episode singing California Dreaming, but Ben has given me strict instructions. I'm not allowed. So shout out to Rihanna. And let's get into the tennis. And like you said, it was an epic day of action. Me and you did meet up yesterday. We got to watch a bit of live tennis in some bars in London, which is very rare, of course. But I think a lot of this is because they have Sky Sports Tennis. And a lot of these establishments in the UK have licenses with Sky, which means it opens up to a wider audience of people. We've recently seen the Netflix Slam with Alcaraz playing Nadal, and that was obviously on Netflix for everyone, opened it up to a big group of people. I don't think it was a massive success. And I must admit, the Sky Sports coverage is good, but I still feel like there still needs to be something changing with the players and the interest, because the whole bar, nobody was watching it.
No, they weren't, were they? I think the football was probably on before, and then as soon as that finished, they flicked it to the only other live sport that was on, that was tennis. And unfortunately, Cam Norrie versus Sonego wasn't really on top of everyone's list to watch. But I thought it was still quite a good match, and well done to Cam Norrie. Good victory there. But we're not here to talk about Cam Norrie. We're here to talk about the big guns. And as we're live, we actually have a live chat today. Big shout out to all of our regulars. We got Casey in, we got Jean in, we got Lily Taylor in as well. Ooh. Great to see you all. It's great to be back on these live streams, and we will be covering some matches as well. I think we got Yannick Sinner playing later on, and the way he's playing, well, blink and you miss it, I think, with Yannick Sinner these days. But we'll get on to him very, very shortly. Shout
out to Kathy as well. Yeah. Good morning from Orlando. I know it's early over there, so thanks for tuning in. We are going to try and do some more live episodes, at least definitely a live podcast a week. That's the aim. So we'll have the countdown and a live podcast, because we know a lot of our fans like Kathy. They really enjoy the live stuff as well, and I feel we're going to do that for you guys.
Yeah, right. Let's get into it. I feel the first place we have to start is Aryna Sabalenka, and she was playing Peyton Stearns. And on paper, you'd probably look at this match and you think number 64 in the world versus number 2 in the world. But then we get this. Aryna Sabalenka won this match. And yeah, she saved 4 match points. And she did it in style as well. I have to say, Sabalenka, when she's down, she actually goes like hell for leather trying to save these match points. She doesn't change her game style, and I thought this is the sign of a champion. These type of matches show what you're made of, and this sort of puts her maybe top of the list on grit and determination. I know she rolled her ankle a little bit in that third set, but she has come out and said it wasn't too serious. It's just like an impact injury, and she should be fine for the next round, which is going to be another big match, isn't it?
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. As much as you say, it's great for Saba, this is a match she should be winning comfortably. And the difference between her and a Iga is Iga rarely finds herself losing to a player who is outside the top 10. Usually not one of the big players, even outside the top 5. We know the incident happened with Noskova recently. She's going to be playing her again today. Yeah. So they can happen for Iga as well, but it's very unlikely. With Saba, you see her losing to players, it doesn't matter what ranking, often. She's definitely settled it in 2023 and was a lot more consistent. But regardless of that, there was 2 sets here where I don't think she played well enough. She just was a little bit inconsistent. And we know what she can do. If she plays at sort of 70, 80%, she'll win most matches straight sets, because her power differential is huge compared to all of the other ladies on the tour. They can't match her serve or her ground strokes. And it just goes to show it's mainly on her racket every match because she has an ability which nobody else has. And I feel this was a poor performance, and she didn't have to show the grit and determination.
Disagree totally.
Purely because she just made too many unforced errors in the other two sets.
I totally disagree. I think Peyton Stearns, she played the match of her life out there. I think that she looked incredible. She was going hell for leather with Saba in some of these rallies, and some of them, it looked like a winner from Saba with her biggest power shot, and Stearns somehow got it back and with a winner. It was end to end. I didn't know who was going to win, but the fact that Stearns showed that what her level could be in the future, I think we all got to see a little insight that Peyton Stearns is the real deal. She just needs to start putting it together on a more consistent basis. And we've got to remember, she's only 22 years old as well. There's still a lot of growth for her in this game.
She's a good player, especially specifically in the US. I remember we covered her at the US Open last year when she was in the titles of some of our videos.
Yes.
Got a lot of potential in this game, but I still feel like Sabalenka was playing. She may have been hitting quite hard, but it was playing very much within the lines. Wasn't risking enough, and the moment she does, she can claw things back.
Yeah, I mean, if she hits her top form, it's tough to hang with her. But I think on the odd occasion, you're going to get somebody when they're playing in their home country. Maybe that's when it's the key for Stearns. She can really rally with the best players on tour. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough this time, but I think everybody needs to be aware that she can hang with the likes of a hard hitter like Sabalenka. If she'd have played Iga, would it have been a different type of scoreline? Because we know she has a different sort of game style, Iga, and she can wipe people off the court sometimes. I don't know, but Sabalenka, she definitely is becoming one of those players who ends up being in epic 3-set matches quite a lot of the time, and she does come through victorious in some of them, but sometimes she does lose in Grand Slams. But there's one thing for sure, we're always talking about Sabalenka matches, which is surely a good thing for her and her brand, because I think she's an exciting tennis player on the women's side. What do you reckon on this one? We've got Yannick Sinner and Aryna Sabalenka. Do you reckon that she's trying to harness a bit of her own Yannick Sinner here to try and get this match over the line? I thought it was quite funny seeing this one.
Where was the Sinner one? I forget where it was now. It was the start of that crazy run he had. This is where, was he not sick in the bucket? Was it in China maybe?
Possible,
I forget.
yeah.
Let us know in the live chat when he had the towel over his head, but from this moment, he just went in God mode, and we'll get on to Yannick Sinner in a minute. So let's just focus on Sabalenka for now. She spoke about the match afterwards, and she said it was one of her greatest matches, a big escape for her, and she was thrilled to be able to do it. And next up, she has no other than Emma Raducanu, which I think is the one we all want to see, because we've been... what's the word? We've just not been given it every time.
Deprived.
Every time we've been teased with the idea of a Sabalenka Raducanu match, but it's never comes. And it was almost the final in 2021. It was the one which I thought was going to happen, and now they're going to face each other the first time on Monday in Indian Wells.
Yeah, and I think it's going to make it more interesting, the fact that she's just had this really long, epic match with Stearns, a potential ankle roll there. There's a little bit of maybe doubt going into the next match. I think Raducanu, she's done all she has to do in her first two matches. The Yastremska one, you can't really look too much into it, other than that she was 4-love up and then Yastremska retired. And I think they'll still give Raducanu confidence, because how good Yastremska was at the Australian Open. I think Raducanu is going to be fresh. I think she's going to look at that Saba match and think, I can probably pose some of those similar threats that Stearns posed as long as I play my best tennis. She's going to need US Open championship winning tennis to beat Sabalenka, though, because if Sabalenka's fighting this hard just to win a match, yeah, it's going to be really tough for Raducanu, I think.
Yeah, my prediction is Sabalenka's going to wipe the floor with her. I don't give Emma Raducanu a chance in hell. I think it'll be a good match. I think it's difficult to really base Emma's game based off the last match, because it only lasted sort of 10 minutes or 15 minutes. She played extremely well in that spell. But this one I just see going... I think Sabalenka's going to get everything together a little bit and beat Raducanu quite convincingly.
Yeah, and if she does that, then you'd have to think everybody will be on notice. But let's move away from Sabalenka because she escaped very, very a close match there with the 4 match points being saved and then coming through to win. Somebody else had a little bit of a scare, but on the men's side, it was his return to tennis in Indian Wells. It's Novak Djokovic. That's right. Come on. I mean, it was a little bit touch and go. And what a great, in the UK, late night match to be watching because Vukic, he's a type of player that on his day, and it definitely was his day, has some amazing tennis shots. I mean, it was sort of like Stearns playing against Sabalenka. Some of the shots Vukic was pulling out, like to hit a winner off of a Djokovic first serve to take the set. It was incredible. I mean, how was he doing some of those shots?
Second serve.
Was it a second serve? Sorry, but it was quite a fast serve anyway. It was down the tee, and he just stretched, got a racket, it hit the line, and Djokovic just had to watch it like fly by. I mean,
it was either a second serve or a first serve after a let.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was watching it. I got in quite late last night, as you know, and I put it on the TV, and it was level in the second set. So I got home a lot before you, I think.
Yes, definitely did.
It was level in the second set, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, oh, this would be fun. Let's see how Djokovic is playing. And I was preparing myself to watch the post-match interview in about 10 minutes' time. Djokovic talking about his performance, how he's feeling, how the Indian Wells crowd receives him. And that's what I was looking forward to. That's why I tuned in. I was not expecting Vukic to take the set, but I'm not surprised he did. It was absolutely incredible. The way he was playing was so good. So it was a first serve. Okay. And he was hitting so many good forehands, some big serves when he needed to. It was the perfect tennis performance, and he can't leave being disappointed at all. I know before the match he said, well, let's see what this Novak Djokovic is all about then. Let's see what all the hype's about. And I thought that was quite a funny quote, and I was watching it with that in the back of my mind throughout because he was probably thinking after that second set and towards the middle of the third, like, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, this is kind of winnable. I'm winning quite a bit of points, and I'm in the rallies, and when the longer rallies were happening, he was winning them. Djokovic kept going into the net with his backhand or going long. He looked a little bit off balance. His serving percentages weren't great. But the big thing was the forehand, and the forehand quality improved drastically in that third set. So you can see here, first set, 8.7, in which he won 6-2. He lost the second set with an 8.1 forehand. And in the third set, he hit a I think this is the average, 9.6 forehand. When you consider the tour average is 7.6, it is crazy numbers. And I was looking at the Djokovic performance, and this is going to annoy some people, I'm sure. I did see some things from him which were like, he's looking a little bit older now. He seems a little bit older. I don't know if it's because he's got all the beard now, but it just seemed slightly slower. It seemed like he wasn't hitting the ball so hard. And it seemed like he couldn't handle the pace of Vukic. And I was thinking, he's going to be in real trouble against Jannik Sinner if he plays him. He's going to probably lose that one in straight sets, and I don't think he'll get many games either, probably a 3 and a 3. But then it all turned around in that third set, and the moment he got that break and went 4-2, we saw him then raise another level. And then that level of Djokovic, I was like, okay, he's back. He can play now with the likes of the other guys. And this is what Djokovic has done over the years, to be fair. It's sort of the rope-a-dope. He leads you into thinking, he's winnable. Like, I think people can get some joy against him. And then all of a sudden, just another level, snap. And he's there, and he's the best in the world again. So I'm fascinated to see how he plays against better players. And what I mean by that is Vukic on paper is not the best player in the world. He played an incredible performance, and I was impressed with how he did, and he'll be so proud of himself. But against like a Rublev or a Sinner, of course, or one of the better players, I am fascinated to see where Djokovic's game is at, because I feel like during the period where he was making all of them errors, if he does that against them, the match will be over.
Yeah, I'm going the other way on this. I think Vukic, and I said it to you last night as well, I think he probably yesterday beats anybody who isn't Djokovic, Alcaraz or Sinner on yesterday's performance. That was
Medvedev?
Maybe. Medvedev's sometimes there.
Monfils.
Well, we'll get onto
Dimitrov.
it. We'll get
I think
onto
there's
it.
a lot of players. Vukic did well, Ben, but you can't say that. He was good, but he doesn't beat the other players.
It's all hearsay, though. We're never going to know.
He
That's
does
my
not-
opinion.
He does not beat big players, Vukic.
Well, we don't know. If
Look,
you'd have played him on yesterday...
Historically,
Yeah,
he doesn't beat big players.
Historically, he doesn't. But on yesterday's performance, he may have done. Playing in that sort of level against somebody who wasn't one of those top players. I reckon, well, throw Tsitsipas to him yesterday. I reckon he would probably beaten Tsitsipas. But
Hard to say.
Horrible to say that because I don't want to always throw Tsitsipas under the bus. But I feel like he's like the easy prey, like low hanging fruit. Let's say. I know you're talking about Djokovic's. Was it like forehands, this type of thing, and
His
the
forehand
level.
quality.
That's it. And we've got Yannick Sinner's here just to give you an idea of how he was playing. And 9.1 on a serve, 8.6 on a return, 9.2 on a forehand, and 9.3 on a backhand. I mean, unreal performances.
So this was the average, I think, for set 2. And if you go down to the graphic, it just illustrates how he's been performing. When you look at the tour average of about 7.5, 52-week average, 8.64, it was monstrous numbers against Kokkinakis. One of his best performances, I think.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of his best ever performances, like technically. And when you put that compared to how Djokovic played, of course, it's his first match back for a bit. It's going to take him some time, and he's still got the win, which is the main thing. But
he's been away from Indian Wells for quite some time, though. You've got to remember
and he's not
that.
won it for many years as well. I think the last time he won it was 2016. I know he's won 5 times. He's trying to level up with Roger Federer. He's not won that event for a few years. But I'm just looking at Yannick Sinner as an absolute beast.
Well,
Go up to them stats again. They're the numbers are not normal. To be hitting 9 and above in everything.
Yeah, other than return, it's just crazy.
And his return is actually better than that usually.
I thought this is what we were going to see, though. I said it to you in the draw preview. I didn't think Kokkinakis would even come close. Yannick Sinner is that good right now that Kokkinakis is like a challenger player to him.
You say all of this, though, man. Kokkinakis is tough, but Sinner did put in one of his best performances of the year in that second set.
I think he's just getting better. That's the problem. Like, we're seeing him. He's playing his best tennis we've ever seen from Yannick Sinner, and it just, the level keeps going up. And it does worry me for somebody like a Djokovic, should they meet at this point in Djokovic's career, because I feel that Yannick Sinner's consistency in his tennis is something that Djokovic he's dipping, and like there's a lot of variation. It would be a final
as well, Ben. It would be a final, remember, at Indian Wells. If Yannick Sinner has got all the way to the final without dropping a set, I think he's going to absolutely demolish Djokovic. That is my prediction. I put it out on in now. I think it will be straight sets. And for Djokovic, though, a great milestone achieved again. 400th ATP Masters 1,000 win. So he's won 400 Masters matches. 420th week at number 1. And for those who want to know about records as well, I believe Rafael Nadal has 406 Masters wins. So most likely, if he makes a run here and then a run at Miami, he will overtake Rafael Nadal to have the most Masters victories in history.
Yeah, and there's just a list of all of the victories there. 51 at Indian Wells, 44 at Miami, 36 at Monte Carlo, 30 in Madrid, 67 in Rome, 37 in Canada, 45 in Cincinnati, 40 in Shanghai, 50 in Paris, and there are your 400 for Novak Djokovic. I mean, and just to go on to something a little bit more light-hearted, so Djokovic is wearing green for Indian Wells, and Djokovic's last 4 events wearing green. 2020 Australian Open champion, 2021 Australian Open champion, 2022 ATP Finals champion, and 2023 ATP Finals champion. Could he be Indian Wells champion as well? Maybe he's good. Do you reckon he ever thinks about that, or do you think it's just he just gets what he's given?
I don't think he thinks. He's won so many matches. He just probably doesn't think about it at all. And I think a lot of it is determined by the range which Lacoste are going to be bringing out as well. I don't know how much say he has on all the colours. But I am not surprised by that tweet, because my memories of Djokovic is whenever I see him wear green, I don't think I've ever seen him lose. So
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
From the podcast times, every time he's wearing green, he wins.
Yeah, it's great to see. Like, I always get flashbacks of just remembering him lifting trophies wearing green. So It is
Yeah,
a
you'd
good
know probably better than me for all the thumbnails you've done over the years looking for Djokovic.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely wearing green in a lot of them. I quite like this one as well because I know that we've got the two players who are on like the thumbnail today, which we're speaking about, the big players, Sabalenka and Djokovic. Djokovic wearing bright green, like this very, very bright green, and Sabalenka wearing very, very bright pink. And this is like very Indian Wells, like BNP Paribas Open. Those are the colours of this logo. I quite like the fact that they're both embracing the bright colours. But anyway, moving on. Speaking about somebody else, which was, I thought was a fantastic performance. One, hate to say, I called, which was knocking out my player roulette player, which is Hubie Hurkacz. It was Gael Monfils. I mean, I think he's suffering a bit of the GTL effect, I have to say. We met with Gael Monfils. We interviewed Gael Monfils in December. And ever since then, he's looked like a different man, hasn't he, on the court? And he beat Hubie Hurkacz. He bageled Hubie Hurkacz in the first set. And if you want to see an amazing tennis point, then I'll pop a link. I'll put it in the description after this video of this point between him and Hurkacz. It was like true entertainment. It's true Gael Monfils. There was tweeners, lobs, smashes, just brilliant tennis. I mean, what do you make of this Monfils resurgence?
He's brought back the Wakanda Forever celebration, and he said it's back because the celebration's meaningful. It's a message I send out there. I'm really back. It's a powerful celebration, so I need to be powerful, and that's how I feel now. So he is confirming himself that he is back by the celebration, and he's doing it in the performances as well, killing Hurkacz. Revenge for Federer after the bagel at Wimbledon. He's giving him a bagel. And some of the points, like you was talking about, were the tweener exchanges, the drop shots. He was hardly running around. He's playing in very Monfils showmanship fashion. I think the problem with that style is you will get found out eventually. You can't win tournaments like that. He's not on his toes, and he's playing in this showman way. I will always say this. Brilliant. It's fun for YouTube. It's great for a spectator. I would love to be sitting in the stadium having some beers. In terms of himself, you don't win tournaments and titles playing in that way.
He's 37 years old, though, but to see him...
He's always played the same. He's played the same his whole career. I don't know how many years it's been, over 20 years probably.
Yeah.
He plays the same way always. It's brilliant for us to watch, but you don't win titles. So there's a fine line between, do I want to actually try and win this and play in a different way, or is that just the way he is as a player? And I think we've, at this stage, like you say, 37, we accept that he's never going to change. That's who he is. And from a spectator's viewing point, it's brilliant. And I loved some of them points. And if you go to the next one...
Yeah, we'll we'll clip that, and once he's won Indian Wells.
Yeah, we can see at 37, 162 days, he's the third oldest player to defeat an ATP top 10 opponent at a Masters event since 1990. Younger only than Federer and Wawrinka.
Incredible.
But not by much, only by days. So if he keeps going, which I think he's going to keep going, then maybe he will be the oldest player.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing some great tennis, I have to say, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Gael Monfils right now. Maybe the UTS has given him a little bit more of a lease of life. He's having a bit more fun with his tennis. I remember he was down in the dumps quite a lot of the time. Maybe being a father as well is helping, giving him a little bit of extra incentive to do well and win matches. But I'm all for it. I hope he continues this fantastic run of form.
You got Caffeine saying, doesn't Monfils have a record of at least one title for like 18 years? I know he has won quite a few titles over the years, but as Economical Pogo says, Monfils Novak quarterfinal 0-20, and that sums it up. Playing that style, you don't beat the likes of Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic. I don't think you beat the sinners either, because they're a little bit more economical, and you need to be on your toes at all moments. You can't afford to do the showmanship style against the big players, because it always bites you in the backside.
It really does, yeah. I totally agree. You have to really manage your your gas tank in these like hot conditions as well. You've got to remember it's like close to 30 degrees there in Indian Wells. I think that's maybe why Djokovic is like sometimes he struggles in the heat and takes him a little bit of time to acclimatise to some of these like very hot tournaments. But he seemed to be just about to get it over the line. I feel like Yannick Sinner, isn't it a bit weird that Yannick Sinner, being ginger and all that type of thing, pale skin, he doesn't seem to affect him being in the heat at all. He thrives in hot conditions, which for me, I don't really get it. For me,
Italian
it has
blood.
Yeah,
Italian
maybe
blood.
it's just that. Maybe it's just that. I don't know. Anyway,
I'll give you
moving
some
on.
of mine next time we play. Just hit me over the head with a racket and you can have some.
I like the sounds of it. Let's move on to a different story. And this is talking about the women's side and all of the seeds that are going out. I mean, do you want to list off all of these?
Yeah, Raducanu withdrew, Pegula out, Jabeur out, Vondrausova withdrew, King Wing Zheng out, Ostapenko out. And the biggest loss, I think, is Pegula and Jabeur. Both of them should be doing better. Jabeur not found a rhythm at all this year. No. And yeah, I'm really annoyed I didn't put her outside my top 10 because I just don't see her making it at all. She's really gone off the wagon, and I just don't think she can compete with not even the younger players. You can't really compete with a lot of players on the tour at the moment.
No, it's quite sad, to be honest. I don't like seeing Ons Jabeur with a frown on her face, but there's definitely some sort of injury troubles that she's been dealing with, and she's definitely not back to her full fitness. I don't know what the excuse for Pegula is at the moment. Or Kim Wing Zheng. I think maybe you're right. You've hit the nail on the head. She just maybe fooled us a little bit by getting so far at the slam.
Not us, she fooled you.
All right. I meant us as in like more of the general tennis community.
Yeah.
Not us as in a podcast duo.
I'm only
she
joking.
fooled the world. Right, anyway. But not Jay Genius. He saw it a mile off.
She never fooled me because I was watching her on that run in Australia, and she was good. I've got her inside my top 10. I think she is the future, but she's not playing at that level yet. I think she will become better, but at the moment she is an average player, and I'm going to see average performances from her, and that's what I would expect. I don't think she is as good as people are giving her credit for. I remember straight after the Australian Open, you had her winning an event, and that's where this whole thing started from, because you was the one person who I thought, Ben, you've clearly not watched this with an analytical eye. But not everyone can be analytical. It's only me and I think Gil Gross in the tennis space who have that extra keen analytical perspective on tennis.
Good segue there. It's queues me up for my next tweet, which is Gil Gross. And this is talking about Coco Gauff and talking about how she sort of struggled through her match as well. I mean, she's another one who, since that US Open win, is she having a case of like the Alcarazes? You win your first Grand Slam title, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, and now she's struggling to find the same level of performance that we would expect from her. And she struggled past, was it Burrell in the end? Or I forget, because there were two French players playing last night, and I kept getting the players mixed up. Who was the other one? Diane Parry, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Leylah Fernandez.
That's it.
Sad one for Leylah.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't think it's like Alcaraz is because for me, he did very well after he won his first slam. He only didn't do well when he became world number one. That was the difference.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So Coco Gauff hasn't become world number one. So this is a different thing. This is just her. I don't think she's falling off anyway. She managed to win, and this is an impressive statistic because it shows that she is still one of the best players in deciding sets. When it matters and when it's tight, she's as Gil says here, she is abnormally good at winning close matches. So Iga has a win percentage of 80%, and she's 66% in deciders. Sabalenka, 68% overall, and not very good in deciders, 54%, and pretty much exactly the same for Raducanu. But Coco Gauff, 69%, so the same career win percentage as Raducanu and Saba, but in free setters, she has better than everyone, even better than Iga, 67%, which is incredible how good she is in deciding sets. So that's something to take into consideration when you're watching Coco Gauff. In them tight matches, she can find that extra level, the extra gear to get things over the line. And I think that is really important, more so on the women's game, where you see lapses in concentration and a lack of consistency throughout the duration of a match. It's always going to be best of 3. So there's going to be, I think, this is my prediction, I don't know if it's statistically proven, in an event like an Indian Wells, I feel like you'll get more 3-set matches on the women's than you will on the men's. Maybe not this year, but in general, as a whole, you will get a lot of 3-setters on the women's side. So if you have the ability to do very well in the third, it makes you always one of the best players in the world.
Yes, most definitely. And I think that with Coco Gauff as well, this is the one thing that we're finding, and Kath is like summing it up here. It's not it's not when you win when you're playing well. It's when you win when you're playing ugly. And if you're not having a good day at the office and you still manage to get a win, that's the sign of a champion as well. I know we've said it with Saba. She struggled her way through that match. That's still the sign of a champion. You get through the tough matches. You get through the matches where you shouldn't really have won that match. Like Coco didn't play well at all, but she got the victory, and that's all that no one's going to ever look back at that match now. They'll just chalk that up. Oh, yeah, Coco just won that match. We're not going to be reviewing that match, let's say, in about 5 years' time. That one's just another win on a winning streak of this tournament. And if she goes into the next match and pulverizes her next opponent, it's all forgotten about. So it's just about keeping in that third set and making sure you can get it over the line. And Coco does it, as you can see by the stats, better than anybody. So moving on to the next tweet, which obviously Raducanu withdrew from this. She was the reigning defending champion at Indian Wells, and it was very sad to see that she did withdraw from the event. But it does mean that we're not going to get someone defending their title again. And this is just becoming a crazy thing on the women's side where no one has ever defended Indian Wells. This shocks me, that does.
Yeah, I feel it's the most shocking that Iga's not done it.
Yeah, I mean, Iga last year, she could have maybe gone back-to-back, but she wasn't able to get it done. And Raducanu was the champion last year. Yep. We're going to get another, new champion this year. We're going to get another champion who's going to have to try and do it again next year. But will that happen? We don't know.
I think Iga's got a good shot. With this stat, I know it's like something which has happened, but I feel it's just by case scenario. I don't think it's like something that's always going to happen. My prediction is we'll see Iga win this consecutive years at one point.
Yeah, I think she has a really good opportunity to do so. Speaking about some of the other women on the tour, and speaking about the mums who are doing well, and there are 4 of the mums that have been going through: Svitolina, Kerber, Wozniacki, and Naomi Asaka as well. I mean, it's brilliant to see Naomi back and playing well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure when this photo's taken. I'm going to guess 2018, when they were all extremely good, probably all in the tour finals.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And great to see they're rolling back the clock. We've seen it on the men and the women. Asaka is a big one for me because I do have her in my top 10. Yes. And I thought that was a brave pick. She was all the way sort of down in the 400s, 500 in the world start of the year. I think she's climbing up to sort of 200 maybe now, even higher. And I think she's got a real good chance to go far. We know that there could be a quarter-final on the horizon with Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
But her next few matches, I think, are winnable. She's got Mertens next, I believe. And if you just bring up the tweet for her, we can see how she got on.
1 second. I'll have to bring that one up separately.
It's all right. I can read it out. So
read it
Asaka defeated Samsonova 7-5, 6-3. She won her first title at Indian Wells. Who would have thought the unseeded 20-year-old would win 4 Grand Slams? First top 20 win as a mum. She was underestimated then. She's underestimated now. But Naomi will always be capable of greatness. And this is obviously a great event for her in which she's won before. And this is my dark horse, as you remember from the draw preview. And I would like to see her go far because she needs to get in that top 10 and help me out.
Yeah, she's not yet to drop a set as well in this tournament. Knocked out Aryna in the first round. Samsonova, straight sets. That was an incredible victory.
This is the more impressive one, though, isn't it? I feel like the Aryna one, I'd have been disappointed massively if she lost that.
Yeah, definitely. And she could set up a 4th round matchup with Coco if she beats Mertens. And I'm sure that's the match all of us want. Let's move on to the next one. And this is Andy Murray saying, I feel like no one is listening to me. I mean, I'm planning on finishing in the summer. I don't know what more I'm supposed to say. I've been getting asked about it for 18 months or so.
He was so pissed off in the interview. Like he's getting so frustrated by it. He's holding his head. He's constantly being asked, when are you retiring, Andy? And should you not retire? And it is hard for him because I feel like even we've done it on the podcast a few times asking. Yeah. And it's up to him. He's definitely deserves for us to give him the full decision to make it whenever he feels is right with his body. I still think he's got some big performances in there. The whole return to the tours, I think, been a success on the whole. We've seen some fantastic matches. I remember at last year's Australian Open, they were amazing. Some 5-set marathon Murray matches.
Yeah.
But with this one, if he wants to sort out all of the questions, what he should do is come out and say, I'm going to be retiring at this event. This is the event I'm gonna. Exactly. This is the one I'm selected.
I think he said the Olympics though. He's aiming for.
Yeah, but he's not. It's nothing's. There isn't anything basically concrete. So the questions are going to keep being asked until he gives a definitive answer. Maybe he doesn't have one, which is fair enough. But then I think everyone's always going to ask him.
Wimbledon, maybe Wimbledon would be the best one, to be honest. I mean, the Olympics he's done famously well at, so maybe that would be a good one as well. Either of those, I think, just say it's going to be either of those ones. Now just leave me alone. So I think, on to the last one anyway. We're not going to spend any more time on Murray. And it is Daniil Medvedev. Take us through this one because I know you're keen to speak about this.
Yeah, I'm keen because I'm fascinated to see what happens at Indian Wells now. So this is what Daniil Medvedev had to say. He said, I want to surprise my opponents with new weapons and develop new tactical moves. That's the plan and my goal. Now I just have to get it onto the court. That's the most important thing. Let's see how it goes in Indian Wells and if I can incorporate some new elements into my game there. I started doing that in Australia very, very cautiously. You can't approach something like that radically and change everything from the first match, especially not at a Grand Slam tournament. But I'm sure I'll surprise people in Indian Wells. So I thought this was fascinating. Medvedev is looking to reinvent himself as a tennis player and use some new tactics in order for him to win more matches. And I love this. I think it's brilliant because we know what you're going to get with Daniil Medvedev. He will suffocate you as a player. His backhand's lethal. It hardly misses. He's got a great serve and he's very unpredictable. And I think this just adds another level of unpredictability. He obviously couldn't trial out all of the new things at Grand Slam level, but he's going to start bringing some. And I don't know what they're going to be, but I think they're going to make it very entertaining. And that's what we need in the sport. We need people doing different things. Entertainment factor. Daniil Medvedev brings it in abundance. And I am a massive fan of Daniil.
Yeah, I love this. I think this is exactly what I wanted to see. Once he had lost that Australian Open, the questions are out there. How is he going to react? Is he going to be crushed by it again? Is it the little boy who once loved tennis and now he's fallen out of love with it? No, it's now somebody who's realised you only get better by making small adjustments, and he's probably looking towards next year's Australian Open thing. That's never going to happen again. I'm going to make all the adjustments possible now to be able to get revenge on some of these players that have beaten him quite comfortably as well. Like, remember last year's final of Indian Wells? He got pretty much blitzed by Alcaraz, and he doesn't want that to happen again. So he's probably watched that video back and thought, where do I make the changes? And I'm hoping we could see Daniil make a good run in this Indian Wells as well.
Yeah, exactly that. But anyway, that is our roundup for all of the day's action. Hopefully, we'll be doing some live watch-alongs later on. I know we've got Sinner playing and
yes, we have
Eager. That's the other one. So Eager as well. We'll be covering them. Hopefully, you can join. Shout out to John Silk, the legend. Hope you're well, mate. Great channel, doing some good stuff over there. I'm sure we'll catch up very soon. And thank you, everyone. I'm going to be late, so I'm going to watch West Ham Burnley. So up the hammers. I was going to say hammers then, like in proper Cockney fashion.
I was going to say Monfils. You might see him down there. That's the same celebration, doesn't it?
The Wakanda.
That's it.
Right. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and see you very soon. And let's go, Yannick Sinner. Novak Djokovic is quaking in his boots somewhere, I'm sure.
Never. See you guys.